Hello students, now we are going to see your first poem, Once Upon a Time, written by Gabriel Okara. About the author now. Gabriel Okara, a Nigerian poet and novelist. His verse has been translated into several languages. His poem, The Call of the River Nun, won the Best Award of Literature at the Nigerian Festival of Arts in 1953. Some of his poems were published in the influential periodical Black Orpheus, and by 1960 he established himself as an accomplished writer. He was honored with the Commonwealth Poetry Award. Okara's typical poem transists from everyday reality to moments of delight and moves back to reality, making a complete circle. Okara infused African thought, folklore, and imagery into both his verse and prose. His first novel, The Voice, is an outstanding linguistic experiment. His later works include a collection of poems, The Fisherman's Invocation, and two books for children, Little Snake and Little Frog, and An Adventure of Juju Island. Now we are going to see the background of the poem Once Upon a Time. Loss of authentic Nigerian identity and behavior. Nigeria, colonized by Britain in 1885 and became a British protectorate in 1901. Nigeria gained its independence in 1960. Nigeria, still influenced by Western culture, attitudes, and values, likely as a result of its past and ongoing global trade. This poem explores the impact of Western development and the change in cultural attitudes, values, and traditions. Now we are moving to the next theme. This poem is an advice and guidance, parent child relationships, relationship between people, clash of cultures and values, regret, remorse, trust, honesty, and dependability. Can Nigerian tradition and culture survive the contact with modern Western culture and values? These are the themes and messages in this poem. The poet enhances here the traditional olden culture versus modern Western culture. Now let's get into the poem. Once upon a time, son, they used to laugh with their hearts and laugh with their eyes, but now they only laugh with their teeth, while their eyes block cold eyes, search behind my shadow. Who is the speaker? Father is the speaker here. To whom he is speaking? He is speaking to his son. The poem starts with once upon a time. What is once upon a time? Once upon a time, usually we will use in fairy tales. That is not believed. But now, this makes us think the honesty in expressing the emotion which is rare nowadays. Here, laugh with their eyes, which means actually appreciate and believe the reason of laughter. They are enjoying themselves. Who does they refer to here? They refer to the people living in olden times. But now they only laugh with their teeth. What do you mean by laugh with their teeth? They are just showing their teeth. Who does here they refer to? Here they refer to the people living in the present. While their eyes block cold eyes, search behind my shadow. Whose eyes block cold eyes? That is people who is living in the modern life, Western culture. They search behind my shadow. What is eyes block cold eyes? That is lack of feeling. Without any feeling, they search behind my shadow. Who is searching? The people living in the modern life. They are searching behind their behind the poet's shadow. Who is the poet here? Gabriel Okara. He is the father, the speaker of the poem. In the next line, search behind my shadow. The poet here says that the people who are living in modern life with their fake emotions, they are searching behind the poet. Here, the poet means that While greeting each other, they don't have any respect, love, or attraction towards each other. Now let's move to the second stanza of the poem. There was a time indeed they used to shake hands with their hearts, but that's gone, son. Now they shake hands without hearts, while their left hands search my empty pockets. There was a time indeed, in those days, there was a time means in those days, the olden people, the people lived in the traditional culture, they shake hands in a friendly affair. Both of them exchanged their inner cheer, inner happiness. They met very heartily. But that's gone, son. But now the hearty handshake is gone in this modern culture. Now they shake hands without hearts. Here they represents the people living in modern culture. These modern people, they are shaking hands without any happiness. Man of today tries to assess the worth of the other while shaking hands. While their left hands search my empty pockets. In that modern culture, the people while shaking hands, they are the right hand is shaking in handshake, but the left hand tries to find out how much he is possessing in his pocket. What does time refer to here? Here time refers to the olden times. Whom does they refer to in the second line? They refer to the people living in olden times. How did they shake hands? They shook hands with their hearts. What does shake hands with their hearts represent? Here the friendliness, they done warm handshake. The hospitality is represent here. Who is the speaker? The father is the speaker. To whom he is speaking? He is speaking to his son. Whom does they refer to in the fourth line? They refer to the people living in modern times. How do the people living in modern times have their handshake? They miss friendliness, warmth, and hospitality. Their falsity is representing in their handshake. What does their left hand search my empty pockets mean? It means that they are busy in handshaking, but they are evaluating the worth, the richness of the other person who is shaking his hand. Let's move to the third stanza. Feel at home, come again, they say. And when I come again and feel at home, once, twice, there will be no thrice, for then I find doors shut on me. Now to the explanation. When the poet visited his friends in modern times, they used to say, feel at home, come again. He is welcomed once or twice. There is no thrice. If he visited them for the third time, they would shut the door on him. He would become an unwelcomed visitor. What are the words used to invite you? Feel at home, come again. Is this invitation real? No, this invitation is fake. It is not real. They really don't want you. Then why do they invite you? They are inviting for namesake. Will they welcome you repeatedly? No, they will welcome the poet once or twice, but at the third time the doors will be shut on him. Why the doors are shut? Because his arrival is not expected there. Who does they refer to here? They refer to the people living in modern times. Now let's move to the next stanza, that is your fourth stanza. So I have learned many things, son. I have learned to wear many faces like dresses. Home face, office face, street face, host face, cocktail face, with all their conforming smiles like a fixed portrait smile. Now to the explanation. The poet says to his son that he has learned many things, just like to wear faces like dresses, like home face, office face, street face, host face, like that. He uses different faces for different occasions. at home, in office, in street, and as a host. He has different faces and on different occasions. Cocktail face with their conforming smiles. Here, cocktail face represents the face which is capable of mixed emotions like cocktail. Fixed portrait smile, like a fixed portrait smile, which creates the imagination of expressing emptiness in like a portrait. Portrait means picture. Lack of emotion. Without emotion, they are smiling. Why does the poet says, I have learned many things? What does he learn? He learned very bitter experiences from the society. Why does he have to wear so many faces? Because to shoot different occasions, he has to wear so many faces. What are the faces mentioned here? Home face, office face, street face, host face, like that. What is cocktail face? Cocktail face represents the showing mixed emotions. What is portrait smile? Why do people have a portrait smile? People have a fixed portrait smile to shoot different occasion for social acceptance. Now let's move to the next stanza. And I have learned to laugh with only my teeth and shake hands without my heart. I have also learned to say goodbye when I mean good riddance, to say glad to meet you without being glad, and to say it's been nice talking to you after being bored. The poet says to his son, I have learned to laugh with only my teeth and shake hands without my heart. He says that he had learned to smile only with his teeth. He shook hands without a hearty feeling. I also learned to say goodbye when I mean good riddance. Good riddance means goodbye. He said goodbye, though it means that his exit is a great relief to the poet. To say glad to meet you without being glad. He said glad to meet you without being glad, and to say it's been nice talking to you without being bored. That means even though the poet feel bored and irritated by their talk, he says nice talking to you. That means the poet's words do not express his real thoughts. What does he learn to say? To say goodbye. What does good riddance mean? Good riddance means goodbye. Is he glad to meet you? Though the poet is really not being glad at the meeting, but his voice is very sweet. After being bored, what does his mouth say? His mouth says, it's been nice talking to you. Let's move to the next stanza. But believe me, son, I want to be what I used to be when I was like you. I want to unlearn all these muting things. Most of all, I want to relearn how to laugh, for my laugh in the mirror shows only my teeth like a snake's bare fangs. That is, the poet asks his son to believe him. When the poet was like a child, like his son, he was very frank and open hearted, and now the poet wanted to become like his son. When I was like you, I used to be. That is the past action. The poet in his childhood days, he was very frank. I want to unlearn all these muting things. Muting things means these forget the attitude now that silences the sounds of laughter and cheer. Most of all, I want to relearn. He asks his son to teach him he likes to relearn how to laugh. For my laugh in the mirror shows only my teeth like a snake's bare fangs. When he laughed, now when he looked at his mirror, the mirror showed his teeth, which were like the fangs of the snake, that is, teeth of the snake. So he asked his son to teach him wholeheartedly. Who has to believe the poet? His son has to believe the poet. Why does he say so? Because he wants to be truthful like his son, that is, like the child. What does the poet want to be? The poet wants how he was in his younghood. How does the son appear to the father? The son seems to be truthful and he is pure in his young age. Whom does the poet like to be? The poet likes to be his son. What does the poet want to unlearn? He wants to unlearn all muting things. What are those muting things which hides the real emotions, expressions? These are called as muting things. Is the father happy? No, he is not happy. What was his utmost need? He want to relearn how to laugh. What do you understand how to laugh means? How to laugh means to express his joy very happily in a true manner. What is the mirror really here? His inner view. That is the mirror represents here. What does his teeth show him? His teeth show him like the bear fangs, that is snake's bear fangs. Can Akora seek his originality in the mirror? No, the mirror shows his falsity of his own. Now we can move to the next stanza. So, show me, son, how to laugh. Show me how I used to laugh and smile once upon a time when I was like you. The poet requests his son to show him how to laugh and teach him the way he used to laugh at his young age, that is at his child, when he was child. Those were the days when his smile was frank and genuine. Once upon a time when I was like you, the poet used to laugh and smile with real happiness once upon a time, that is in the olden age. And now he lost his laugh and smile because of the negative changes in the modern society. Now go to the appreciation questions. What does the poet request his son to show? The poet requests his son to show how to laugh. What does the poet recall here? The poet recalls his young, that is childhood days, where he behaves open-heartedly. What kind of boy was the poet when he was young? The poet was very frank and friendly and honest when he was young. This poem is a narrative form where the father talks to his son and wishes to learn the art of real happiness from his son. The poet repents to his son for being fake with the emotions, that he shows his son that he has become a victim for the social acceptance against his will. So just think to unlearn the falsities that he has mastered in the modern society, and he likes to relearn the genuine qualities from his son. Hope you understood the poem. Thanks for watching and subscribe my channel if you like to get more videos from your syllabus.